one thing to think is like, if something feels like nails on the chalkboard to you to do, then that's probably not your strength. So people go like, I think there's this thing in we're sort of raised like this and conditioned like this. I think that, I think it comes from schooling. A lot of it is we have to just do it anyway. You have to push through it. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't wash dishes because you don't like doing the dishes, right?
Yeah.
Like, but if you find yourself just naturally doing something anyway, like one thing that I did, this is going to sound really weird to a lot of people. I used to just write essays because I liked writing essays.
That is weird.
Yeah,
I would never do that.
I know, right? Exactly. So like there are people that
and the problem is, and I've talked about this before, is if you're not enjoying your degree, you're competing against people who are, and you can't compete against people who are passionate.
Yeah.
How am I, who hate writing essays, if we were given a task, how am I ever supposed to compete with you who loves doing it? Like there's no chance. It's the same if you're an architect. If you're an architect who's just scraping through, just passing because you're forcing yourself to do it, versus someone who's obsessed with it, like they're up late at night, they're always thinking about it. You just can't compete with that. Yeah. And so I think that's what you've got to keep in mind. And, I think most people haven't figured out what their thing is. It's like, how do I, what lights me up sort of thing? What excites me?
Exactly. And it might also be like, so for me with essay writing, I don't write essays anymore, but I went through this stage where I really liked writing essays, and now I've found that my outlet is more podcasting. So I love podcasting. It's a lot of fun. I love interviewing people. I'll have to have you on my show at some point, Byron. But, that's a way for me to have a conversation. What I realized is I was like, all of this stuff, like writing essays and blogging and, wanting to get into marketing and communication, even though I didn't study marketing and communications, I'm like, all of it came from, I'm just someone who I really like people and I like sharing stories and I find that fun. And if you never paid me to do it, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
But if I tried to tell you, this is like specifically what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, I'd be like, nah.
Oh, same with me.
Can't commit.
I mean, I'm the same with you in terms of like jumping ship sort of thing.
Yeah.
Out of this jumping ship, something I've been focusing on is to stop starting and start finishing. Mm-hmm. That's why I started a podcast. I had the idea for ages and I was like, I just got to start it. Just got to get it going. Stop worrying about every little detail. But yeah, it's just analyzing yourself, isn't it? Figuring out, because I'm the same. And I think most entrepreneurs and business owners are like that. They've always got big ideas and stuff because that's the reason they start a business.
Yeah.
Versus kind of practitioners who actually implement it and finish it, which is, it's one or the other. You can't have a practitioner if you don't have a big idea, but there's no point in a big idea if you're not actually going to finish it and actually implement it. So yeah, it's a great point, just analyzing your own behaviors.
Yeah, and not thinking that there's a wrong and right answer to it as well. Course. I think one of the big things that we're raised with is thinking that this is right and this is wrong. If I don't get a distinction or a high distinction, that's wrong. But I was listening to this little sort of snippet from Jamie Oliver the other day, and he was like, I failed high school. But like, I really loved going to high school because I liked hanging out with my friends. Yeah. Super successful guy, right? Like, just because you don't fit the mold of what our culture is saying is right, which I think still is, like, we're being pushed to go to university and being pushed to go to get a, job straight out of high school if we don't go to uni. There's these sort of rules that we're meant to follow. But if you just kind of stop and go, hang on, is that me though? Like, is that what I want for my life? Like, it's your life.
Yeah. And with today's opportunity, like, you can do whatever you want. If you follow, the question I like to say people need to be asking is not, so what do you want to do? It's, what excites you? Yeah. And if you can just follow that and just head in that direction of what excites you, it might not light you up when you go this way, but then you might go to this job, and then you figuring it out. You jump from job to job, you get experience, you figure it out. But yeah, I think it's more what excites you and just following that, because we've never had as much opportunity as we have. You can start stuff online, you can start your own business, you can reach out to people through LinkedIn who you could never reach before.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing.
Like, you can reach out to, I think, Tim Ferriss did a challenge. Tim Ferriss did a challenge when he was not studying, like a professor, or he was teaching a group of uni students at a college or in America. And he said, I want anyone who can get in touch with someone they admire, like a big person, I'll give a free round the trip world. And I don't think any of them even tried, because they just assumed other people would try it, and they never even tried. Yeah. And then afterwards, once I realized, oh my God, no one's tried, they all did it, and they all managed, just through pure hustle, they could reach whoever they wanted to.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you wanted to, you could probably get in touch with your, you know, favorite person in the world if you tried hard enough. You know, heaps of opportunity. And as we mentioned, just women's rights and like the opportunity women have now versus when they had 100 years ago or 50 years ago even. It's just,
even like I was watching the ABC just released a whole heap of video footage. Have you seen it on YouTube? Where they kind of like they show people's opinions and stuff from the 60s from Four Corners. So
right.
Looking, is it Four Corners? Yeah, I think so. So they're looking at, you know, asking a question like, is it okay to wear a bikini? And you know, seeing what the general public said in Vox Pops from like 1960 to 1969. And watching that, I was like, wow, like how we've come so far just in terms of what was okay then to talk about and ask and do. And, you know, it was like, oh, do housewives get bored? You know, it's just like such a different world. And sorry, I know I'm going a bit off topic.
No, but it's so normalized for them. And I reckon in 20, 30, 40 years, they're going to look back at us and be like, oh my God, that was so rude. So, you know, so homophobic or so whatever it is, whatever we're doing right now. And we'll probably be, you know, the 1960s of now.
There's this there's two things I wanted to say in relation to what we were just talking about. So one was, you know, when you said follow what you kind of excites you.
Exactly, yeah.
There's a really cool framework called the Ikigai. Have you heard of that before?
No.
So it's if you just look up Ikigai, it's like a Japanese word. I'll tell you how to spell it so you can put it in your show notes. But it basically it's about sort of finding, you know, what you love to do, but also looking at what the world needs and, you know, kind of it's putting it all together.
The mesh.
Yeah, like how it all kind of fits together. So that's a really, really useful exercise to do. There's lots of templates online and stuff to do it, but just to kind of tap into that, right? Tap into what do I love to do? What inspires me? What does the world need as well? And can I make money from it? You know, like how do all of those things come together?
And I would say like the world, like what does the world need? But really, you know, there's always going to be people who want what you or are passionate about, what you're passionate about, and you can sell to or figure out a way to monetize. You know, like if you love elephants or something, maybe you start an Instagram about elephants and you're the elephant girl and people who love elephants start following you. Then David Attenborough does a documentary on Jumbo, the elephant, and then he invites you to do an interview and then you leverage that and it's like it just grows and grows. I've made that up, probably a lot harder than it sounds. But, you know, it's just anything, there's always going to be whatever you're passionate about. If you work hard enough, you can find a way to monetize it or create a lifestyle out of it, I believe.
I agree. Like one of the things that inspired my podcast show, the Grow Your Brand, so it's called Grow Your Brand, is like, I was like, if you grow your brand, and I think Gary Vee does talk about this quite a lot as well, so borrowing from him, but when you grow your brand, you actually can channel it into anything that you want. And what a lot of people don't realize is they think like, okay, I've got to have like the perfect product first. I've got to have the perfect idea. But actually, if you just get out there and start building your reputation, because that's really all it is, by doing things like networking and knowing how to communicate, you'd be surprised by how much power you can wield just by people knowing of you. You know, there really is something... People often want to help you. That's what I've been amazed about with LinkedIn. It's like you reach out to people, and I do the same thing to people in return, but you reach out to people and they're kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm happy to have a chat and talk to you and see how I can help. You know?
That's what we did.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It works really well.
Yeah. And we're talking about this on with Andrew, who's a Canadian guy, and he was just saying like he would just DM people on Instagram and say, hey, did you want to have a chat? Or he'd say, hey, and then after they responded, he'd be like, hey, did you want to have like a quick 10-minute Zoom chat where they can get face-to-face? And once he gets them face-to-face, then that's when, you know, he can get his personality out and you can actually kind of meet them. And he's just building a network all around the world. You know, he's got friends in America and stuff. And then you can travel for free almost. You've got free accommodation if you've built a network around the world. That's like a fun example. The example we were talking about, what you were just saying, was like more of a business one. But yeah, I think I can't express enough to people. And I don't know how younger people consume this, if they just flick it off, like network, I don't worry about network, I'll worry about that later, or it doesn't actually matter. But I kind of get across how important it is and how, you know, for uni students, like what's your plan to get a job after uni? A lot of them will say, I've got no idea. If you've got a network, you can just reach out. And once again, people want to help. Yeah. If you just reach out and say, hey, I've just finished my degree in this and this, I'm really looking for this, they'll be like, do I know someone? Do that to 100 people, you're guaranteed to get connected to someone.
100%. I've actually helped quite a few people with that myself. And if anyone's listening that want help, I'm happy to help out as well. But usually I know someone who is like, I have recruiters contact me sometimes as well and say like, hey, do you know anyone who needs like this job? Then I have uni students contacting me going, hey, do you need an intern? And I'm like, look, I'm not looking right now, but what are you looking for? And that's actually the key thing, like know what you're looking for, because once you have that direction, it's sort of like you were saying with the, you know, someone who inspires you, getting, you know, in touch with them. Once you have the direction of actually that mission of being able to do that, you usually can figure it out. It's sort of more, you just need to know what you're trying to do. So if someone reaches out to me on LinkedIn and says, oh, hey, you know, you're looking for a marketing intern. I'm like, look, I'm not looking at the moment, but what do you actually want to do? That's always the question I ask. And a lot of the time I end up having a chat with them because I'm like, I can see that they don't really know yet, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But once you have that direction, it makes a lot easier for people to help you.
Yeah, exactly. And we actually, Nicole, the episode with Nicole, we was talking about that. It was like having a call to action for your life. If you've got a call to action where in any situation when you're talking to someone, they ask, what are you up to? You can go bang.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't have to be a huge vision. It could be, I'm looking to start getting experience in dance or marketing. I want to start getting experience in marketing. Okay, you just want experience. So you don't care about money? No, not right now. Okay, great. I can introduce you to someone who would love to give you experience. So you can shadow them or whatever it is. Or you could be like, I'm looking to get a full-time job in this or something. And if you've got that clarity, as you said, people want to help. And chances are they won't be able to help you directly. But, you know, the thing is that the network thing, you've got 5 people, each of them has 5 people, and it's a lot more than that actually. It's probably more like 100 people. So, you know, I meet you, I've now got access to your 100 people. Once I get access to them, I've got access to their 100 people. So it's just like a compounding effect where, you know, having a call to action to one person might seem insignificant, or mentioning it to your mate's dad or something. But when you do, he's going to be, how can I help him? And how can I, you know, I'll keep it in the back of my mind if something pops up.